That's how I entertain myself.
And that is how we start this out, is how you entertain yourself on a Sunday morning. Good morning. Say good morning to all of our lovely viewers. Once again, it is the Speaker's Corner this Sunday, brought to you with the key core components, starting with Frank Hethington. Say good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Jeffrey. How are you
Good
today?
morning. Doing very well, doing very well. We've got a action-packed show. I'm Jeff Wheeler. I should have introduced myself before I introduced anybody else, but there you go. And on to the most northern, and I don't know if it's cold up there, but we'll ask him whenever he comes on. Thom Holme, say good morning.
Good morning, and right now we're in the middle of cold to stupid because it was like 30s, but chill factor of the teens this past week. It's going to be a high of 70 like on Tuesday.
What?
Yeah, I
That's
don't
gonna be
even know
awesome.
why. I don't know why I unpacked my winter clothes, but I did, and I'm missing my shorts already.
Yeah, but if it gets to 70, that's going to be, you can wear your shorts again. That's going to be awesome.
But they're packed up.
Oh.
The horribleness of winter.
Yeah.
Oh, on this day in 1889, the first jukebox went into operation.
Oh, yeah? Was it a Wurlitzer?
I don't know, somewhere in San Francisco.
1889?
Was there a flower in someone's hair?
1889.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you. It's a good
I like-
curiosity.
I like jukeboxes, man. You never get to see them anymore except for Waffle House, and they have CDs.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find a jukebox that actually uses like 45s. I'm sure they exist, but I'm sure you'd be hard pressed, and it would be kind of a specialty.
I miss jukeboxes.
So did you know that the logo for the Royal New Zealand Air Force is a kiwi, a flightless bird? Irony.
That is
Or
true.
is that ironic?
Don't you think?
No, I think that'd be a paradox. That's a paradox, or an oxymoron, maybe. It's not. I don't know if that's not necessarily irony.
All right, so let's go on to something that
Yeah.
may not be ironic, but it is morbid and painful to have to discuss, but it's kind of the way it is. Well, morbid's not really a good word. Miserable to think about.
Yes.
Go with that. All right, so it's come out in the news that there's many allegations against everyone's favorite Heathcliff Huxtable, Bill Cosby, has come out in the news that there were many allegations of rape that were perpetrated by him, and we don't know how true these things are, but there are many people saying similar kinds of things. I haven't seen the whole answer. This is not a court of law. I really wanted to bring it up because most of these allegations are from a very, very, very long time ago, right? And my question really to the panel was, is that relevant? Like there's one for Lou Ferrigno's wife, says in 1967, Bill Cosby raped her. Is that something that really needs to be dealt with now? Is that something that society should really bring up and talk about?
100%, absolutely.
Okay.
Entirely, because this is if a crime's committed, I don't care if a crime, especially of this nature, and someone in power, especially when we live in an age where victims still feel like they need to remain silent. They need to hold back, or they themselves feel like they will become the accused if they come forward. To allow something like this. This is the same thing with I'll bring up I believe I'm going to get his name wrong, the longtime Top of the Pops guy, the BBC, who when he passed away they found out that he'd been molesting people over a long, like, decades time. And you say this was years ago. The biggest fright factor for me with the Bill Cosby is the length of time over which this was happening.
Yeah.
It looks like it was a repetitive serial behavior. Most of these have very similar details to the story, where it just sounds like this is someone who, like, pathologically
Is into that. Yeah.
was assaulting women, abusing trust.
Well-
And also, I asked, and this is the question similar to the BBC and also what's happening in Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, because it's happening over such a long period of time, did network people potentially know? and choose to look the other way because of the dollars and bills that the Cosby empire was bringing in. I don't know. I don't want to assume that, but I've just seen it so many times where networks will excuse the eccentricities of their people when the money's still flowing.
My question is, this is all occurring during his stand-up days in the late 60s and early 70s? Is that when all of these allegations are...
I don't know of any that aren't during that time period.
So, my other question to the panel is, and I get the whole statute of limitations issue, right. and I agree with Thom, and that is a horrible subject to even bring up, but the way that the laws in this country work, I don't feel like he's liable for it at this point. And my other issue is, you got to follow the rules of the law, whatever state this occurred in. So it's bad that the law is written that way. I get it. I don't condone at all any of that. That's like murder.
But there's two conversations. One is the criminal conversation, and one is the court of public opinion. And in the court of public opinion, he should be tried, and there's ramifications.
To the statute of limitations, this is where there were allegations that he settled out of court monetarily, but associated with that were some of the women who testified who could not bring charges because they were outside the statute of limitations. Those women are the ones who were outside the statute of limitations, so they came and testify, and they have been ones who have gone public to talk about their victimization. So that's where it isn't like everything happened 50 years ago and now it's coming to light. This has been a process of being revealed because, and also why are we talking 2014 when I believe the out of court settlement took place a while back?
I thought it was in the 90s where that occurred.
The settlement?
Well, now I'm reading one about Andrea Constand. In January of 2004, Constand, then a 31-year-old staffer, and the women's basketball team at Temple University, Cosby's alma mater, was with the comedian, and then Bill Cosby provided her medication that made her dizzy. She then alleged the following year. So in January 2005, allegations came out from Andrea Constand.
So we're potentially talking about someone who's been potentially assaulting women from the 60s up until, at the very least, through the last decade.
Is there no paper trail? Is there nothing that has been said in those that many years?
It may be a paper trail, but it may not really exist in a way that's easy to, crucify him. He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of resources.
$400 million. His empire, according to Bloomberg, is $400 million.
His empire?
Yeah, didn't he not make an empire? I mean, he owns Jell-O, right?
Does he really?
Just the pudding pop division.
Yeah, Jell-O pudding pops.
Everything else, he's just he's a marquise in the Jell-O cups.
And my this is the only point I'm going to bring to the table is why are all these allegations surfacing now? Is it something he said? Did he talk to the wrong person in the wrong
These typically
circle?
come out whenever it makes it to the news. Anybody who had this happen in their past will get contacted or contact some other news outlet, and then it'll kind of flow in that direction. When it makes it to the news, they kind of all pop out, it seems.
My point is, I feel like, and this is just my opinion, but I feel like certain African Americans are stereotyped as quote-unquote the white good black, right? So you got Chris Tucker talking about black issues, or Jamie Foxx talking about black issues. Now Bill Cosby talks about black issues where it's in a white standard of vision of, oh, I can relate to that guy. Even though he's black, I understand what he's saying. So my whole point is, why are all these allegations being brought up? Did he piss off someone in the inner circle? That I have to like see it down the road and say why is this all occurring right now? What did he say to the wrong people?
So I'm sure there are viewers screaming at the television right now to say something.
I'm just that's my whole take on things. That's my take.
Ziggy?
And I like Jell-O.
Yeah, she's like, no.
Not
Is
jumping into that.
Is that not
hotness.
the elephant in the room, though?
No, can we just leave it right where Frank left it?
I think that's a pachyderm you're trying to shove into a symphony performance. I don't necessarily know if that belongs on the stage right now. I mean, yeah.
I have heard of this dubious black caucus of people that get together, and Oprah and Will Smith, and they all have this like little party, and they all decide what's going to be on the. I've heard of this theory, but I don't buy it.
Well, you have to wear a tin hat to understand the theory fully, right? So you put on your tin hat, right, and then you go in and listen to Alex Jones for a while, give some money to Infowars.com. And then it all makes sense, Frank.
No, I actually heard that. I actually heard that on Glenn Beck this week. That's right.
Well, that's definitely much more reasonable on Glenn Beck.
The Blaze.net.
I'm actually super glad that you bring that to the table, Frank. Because I want to know from you exactly what Glenn Beck said. Thank you.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so any other points? To Bill Cosby, any other things we wanted to...
He has done a lot of good for the world. Sorry.
He has?
Sorry, Tom. He has. He's putting a lot of time in. But if he's done something, in my opinion, if he's done something, he needs to pay for it. He needs to atone for it. He needs to speak to it.
He needs to speak. Yeah, I mean, it's been painful to kind of see the silence. Because this doesn't warrant science. This is like the answer. This is serious, and it's like crickets.
Yeah, well,
it's serious. He needs to like, he is a grandfather of this society in some ways. He has that position. And if he has learned from that, say you've learned from it. All right, we all agree that you can screw up, and it's terrible and horrible to rape, and that's like an extreme. I don't know where on the realm, but still, he needs to explain.
But from what I understand, the thing that everyone's using the rape word for is basically he drugs the women, and they may or may not have been willing. There's other facts that are going to come out if this ever goes to any trial, but that it's the basic premise is that he gives them drugs that make them sleepy, and then he has sex with them.
That's rape.
Okay, unless it's
if you were intentionally altering someone's state of mind without their.
She has no choice to say no at any point in which the rape is, or in which he is accosting her. She is, if she is asleep, if she is gone to
knocked out,
yeah. She doesn't have a choice, so that is rape.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, we're joining the CeeLo Green camp, and I ain't letting any of us join the CeeLo Green camp.
Okay, I don't know what the
CeeLo Green, the Does That Make Me Crazy voice singer,
yeah,
tweeted. Maybe this will help close out Bill Cosby. He tweeted, "If the woman can't remember, it's not rape." Swear to God, he wrote that, and everyone just went. Wow. The fuck does that mean? It was like, well, the person has to be conscious for it to, And I was like, oh God, that's stupid on so many levels.
Oh man, CeeLo.
I do not want to be his PR manager.
Yeah, I would have. Like,
no, you look at it and go, man, I have a great job because he will never get rid of a PR manager. He has to have one, or else he's screwed.
He'll still have his seat on The Voice. So. Let me close this out. Let me close out the topic. Can you name the top 5 black actors' net worth? Top 5, off the top of your head.
Will Smith.
That is correct. He's number 3.
Bill Cosby.
Jamie Foxx.
Oprah.
Oprah is not a male.
Oh, not a male?
So that disqualifies her from the list.
Damn.
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx is not on the top 5.
Oh, okay.
He is on the list.
There was...
It's not Sidney Poitier. He's not getting work anymore.
So Denzel Washington is 5.
Oh,
and the number one black actor.
Tyler Perry.
Ding.
Ah, nice.
Congratulations.
Because he does so many other things that get him lots and lots and lots and lots of money.
I'm just surprised how low. I figured Denzel would be. He's 5. Wow. Huh.
Lawrence Fishburne is 12.
Time trucks on, Tom.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And whatever happened to, like, Tupac and all those guys, Biggie and...
They died.
LeVar Burton is number 29 on the list.
Wow. He makes a lot of money from those...
Jordy.
He makes a lot of money from the convention circuit that he does.
So there you go.
All right, good
So-
job. Let's move on to the next one.
Speaking of turkeys, because we got 4 of them here.
Good segue.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Gobble.
Ugh.
Gobble.
I was kind of wondering. So Thursday obviously is the day of Thanksgiving, where we eat ridiculous amounts of food, watch a parade by Macy's, and then the dog show right afterwards, and then maybe the Detroit Lions play. But
Is there a puppy bowl? on
somewhere
that day?
around.
Oh,
No, that's in the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There needs to be a puppy bowl on Thanksgiving.
There's
No,
a dog show.
The
There's a dog
the
show.
AKC or whatever.
Yeah.
It is.
I like the dog show.
Yeah,
Which is great.
Westminster's dog
West-
show.
No. Westminster's separate. Westminster's no. This is out of
American
Philadelphia, I
Kennel Club.
think. This is
I don't
AKC,
understand
isn't
dog
it?
shows.
No?
Yeah, but that's not Westminster.
Okay. Yeah, no, they're different. Yes.
And it has what's his name from Seinfeld? Is like the John Benjamin.
Oh,
John
yeah, that guy.
Benjamin is the
John
color.
Benjamin. Who's John
Is that his name?
Benjamin?
Am I getting his name wrong?
That I don't know.
John. Hold on
Someone
while
look
we
it up
Google.
while
This is going to
I'm
be good
looking.
television.
So, yeah, exactly. So I was wondering, since it is somewhere, no, H. John Benjamin is someone else. That's Bob's Burger. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look it up later. That would be awesome if he was the host.
God,
But
I'd love that.
I'd watch the hell out of that.
Yep.
Linda, get in here. For non-Bob's Burger people, that was a wasted 30 seconds.
That was yeah.
So I was wondering, so somewhere amongst all that parades, football, and dogs, we sit down and we eat a ridiculous amount of food. Nice sound effect. Nice, Frank. So I was wondering, I'm not really curious as to what everyone's favorite dish is that's traditionally seen on a table. I want to know what your least favorite dish that you have seen or probably will see. Frank's excited.
I'll start off.
Oh, go for it,
Because
Frank.
I hate real cranberries.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good
okay.
I
choice.
hate real cranberries because Megan does this every year. God bless that lovely woman. But she makes the cranberry marmalade thing, and I can't stand it. I just want my cranberry to come out in a
can.
freaking can and have the ridges and stuff on there.
Yep.
I don't care how old that stuff is.
Nope,
Because
doesn't matter.
When the
It's
shit
still
hits,
awesome.
when the shit hits the fan, that's the first thing in my bug out bag. A can because that is gonna last. You know that's just gonna last.
Yep, it
20
is. Wow.
Nice call.
Yeah.
All right,
was thinking that
I
myself.
hate squash casserole.
All squash casserole?
I just want to puke every time I put any bite of it in my mouth. And everybody goes, "Oh, mine's different. You have to try mine. It's so much better than all those others." I put a bite in my mouth and I hold back vomit every time.
Wow.
Every
That's
time.
strong.
I don't know why, but whenever I was a child, for some reason, we all have these food associations with something that went wrong one day. And I was probably sick the first time I ate squash, and it just didn't go well in my mouth. So now the smell and the palate of it just always harkens back those feelings for me.
That makes sense. I can understand that.
So it's irrational. It's non-logical. It just is.
That's me and white veggie pizza. No, it's serious. A white pizza.
Yeah.
A white pizza with vegetables only. I can't do that because I had a bad experience once, and so now I'm just like, ugh. I'm gonna be sick. Yeah. So I feel you, man.
And it's not rational. It doesn't make any damn sense, but it is.
True.
Yep.
Michelle, you got something that you want to throw off the table?
I come from foreign families, so we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in the traditional way a lot. So the worst thing that I have had at a Thanksgiving, God help, she would not watch the show, but if she is, my aunt made sardined eggs.
Oh, that sounds glorious.
That sounds bold and dangerous. That could go either way.
Oh
Yeah.
my, and she's French, so it's I'm sure it tasted beautiful, but when you don't tell somebody that the deviled egg that they're about to eat
Has sardines in it?
sardines in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. You're not ready for that.
So yeah,
Not ready for prime time.
Disclose if you are going to change up a traditional menu item on Thanksgiving. That's all I ask.
Oh god.
Which is I was gonna say does that count as a deviled egg hack? Shut up, Tom. 1 week we're gonna talk about the word hack and how much that's gonna be a thing that pisses me off. Mine is really not as exciting or as glamorous as all of yours. Mine is green beans with almonds.
Ugh.
For some reason, I find that to be
Almonds
just
specifically.
Wait.
well, it's just such a boring standard veggie dish that it's like oh, there's gonna be the turkey and the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, and the green beans with almonds. I'm like, why does it always have to be green beans with almonds? Can we? One year we forced Kate's parents. I think we're gonna do it again this year, to do roast Brussels sprouts.
Oh, I'm doing that this year. I'm gonna make
They
Brussels
still had
sprouts.
the green beans out on there because we have to have the green
traditional.
beans. And I was like, oh Christ,
Norman
but it's just so
Rockwell
boring.
requires it.
Well, you know where most of those recipes for Thanksgiving came from, right?
No, what? Where?
Well, it's
Betty
from
Crocker.
the food companies. That was the food companies were trying to sell cans of green beans, and they wanted it to look fancy for your Thanksgiving dinner. So they went, all right, buy a bag of almonds and put it on top of the green beans and cook
Jack,
them up
You were
regular.
saying
absolutely
that
right.
We didn't have Thanksgiving dinner in the 1800s.
We didn't have it the way it became a thing in the 50s, when in the 50s, it was the food companies were turning into large conglomerates. And when they were doing these things, they basically created an American food based on what they wanted to push, right? So I can't remember the name of them that made all the green beans, but the name of the food packaging company, but it's one of the big ones.
Oh, green giant.
Well, I'm so excited because you're so right. This morning I heard on the radio, Kraft, the reason why marshmallows appear on vegetables and sweet potatoes at Thanksgiving is because Kraft was trying to push their marshmallows, which were not selling well. So they put out a cookbook that included that as like all these different recipes you could use the marshmallows for. And the one that seems to hold still true is putting marshmallows on sweet potatoes or on other vegetables, which is an abomination. Oh, you're a fan?
I'm a fan of sweet potatoes, not vegetables. It's the only time I'll take a marshmallow is on sweet potatoes at Thanksgiving.
It's just so weird.
time.
It's so weird.
It's so weird. It is so weird. And the marshmallows that they make are not real. That's just like some abomination to begin with.
Wait, there are real versus not real marshmallows?
Oh,
Who
yeah.
has
Have you
real
ever had a real
marshmallows?
marshmallow? It
No,
is the most
evidently not.
magical thing on the planet.
What are
Where did you
marshmallows
get one?
made out of?
Sugar?
If you go to like a hardcore confectioner shop, you can buy like really well done marshmallows, and he's right. They are kind
They are
kind of crazy
magically wonderful, right? But because it's a confection, right? But then you've got these ones that they put so much preservatives in that they would last right next to Frank's canned cranberry sauce, which is not a sauce at all.
I'm not putting that in my bug out bag. Sorry.
Yeah. You gonna put any reading in your bug out bag?
double. Oh, gee.
Why would you put reading in your bug out?
Do you need any reading material?
Well, I figure once the EMP hits, all of my electrical devices are going to work.
Well, you know who might be able to help you fix your electrical devices? Computer
Go
Barbie.
on.
Computer engineer Barbie.
So there's a couple of people that I was talking to that are in their bug out concept, right? And they have a cage, a Faraday cage, that they put a set of electronics in just in case there's an EMP, and the Faraday cage will protect, theoretically, that electronics inside. And they'll be the only one with a DVD player from 1989.
I've seen that special on Netflix.
You said Faraday cage. I thought you said ferret egg cage. And I was like, Michelle, he's so stupid. He thinks ferrets lay eggs. And then I went, wait a minute, Michelle, do ferrets lay eggs? Am I wrong?
So speaking of getting laid,
marsupials?
and Faraday and electronics, we'll go to the Techno-Lust Barbie. What is this? The computer programmer Barbie? Computer scientist Barbie?
Yeah, I'm so glad my segues totally fail.
I know. I mean, come on. It's like electromagnetism and electrochemistry to engineer Barbie. Sure.
That works. So, yeah, I'm not going to buy this book for my my little nieces and nephews, but there is a bright and shining thing to the. What's the issue? What's the issue?
There's a silver line to the story.
Barbie
Okay, so-
is awesome.
Who wants to tell the story?
Like an
Tom,
intro.
go. Tom, please.
It's just, so I guess Mattel puts out book series about Barbie, kind of introducing the different Barbie and her professions. Kind of give a little backstory. And so they had computer engineer Barbie, which I guess a lot of people went, "Holy crap, that's so cool."
The title is awesome.
The title is awesome. Sweet. Except for computer engineer Barbie apparently was more of a just like designer, and said something. There was like near the end she goes, "Well, I actually don't do the programming for that. I need Steve and Dave. I just and she laughs at her friend Skipper and says, "I don't do that part. I need the men to do that for me."
I thought so.
And
Skipper was her sister.
Skipper, her sister?
I thought so.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you for the correction.
So this is a book, right?
Yes.
So,
I think a book that has an associated figure with it?
Yeah, I think so.
So it starts promising Barbie is designing a game to show kids how computers work. And then she makes a robot puppy to do cute tricks by matching up colored blocks.
This eventually blossomed into a discussion that I was reading about designers versus programmers.
Oh, and then she meets somebody in a library, and then she says, "Hi guys, I'm Barbie. I tried to send you my designs, but I ended up crashing my laptop, and Skipper's too. I need to get back. I need to get back the lost files and repair both of our laptops."
No, but she got a virus on her computer and needed to ask the boys for help because she couldn't figure out how to do it. Right? So it basically portrayed Barbie as somebody who's interested in technology, but a bumbling idiot.
She's not a computer engineer. I'm sorry, you're not a computer engineer. That's not what you are, Barbie.
But she could be the IT manager.
No, not at all. She's
Yes,
a
she could.
person.
Yes,
Have you seen the IT crowd? It sounds like she's...
she could.
I mean, but what they portrayed, wasn't that basically Barbie being a designer, a graphic designer, or an idea pitcher, and that's it? And didn't actually do any of the production of anything?
Well,
and that was the concept, was that she's the artist for all of this stuff, but there's no way she could technically accomplish the things that need to be accomplished in making a complicated computer program, because girls aren't good at math.
Well, who jumped who jumped into that girls aren't good at math part? Some
That
of
was
this
me.
becomes somebody else's assumptions as to what the book was actually the author was trying to say. The author seems to be very, very sorry that she didn't account for.
Yeah, I feel bad for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she unintentionally fell into,
Stereotypes, yeah.
fell into a trope that is all too common.
Yep.
Right.
The silver lining has been some of the nice things that I think I shared in a green room to y'all, like some women developers who have like created like forums for people to make their own Barbie stories.
Yeah, they made fan fictions out of this one story, right?
Which is awesome. I think it's people turning from putting down the pitchforks and picking up the pen and paper and thinking of like let's make something out of this, which heartens. I think that's awesome.
In case you wanted to know some other careers for Barbie, she's been an aerobics instructor.
Right.
She's been a nurse and a surgeon, a veterinarian. Wow. She's been a paratrooper. She has been in all of the armed forces. An ambassador for world peace.
Oh yeah.
Oh God! Was that after she was done with her days at the Miss America pageant?
That was in 1986.
I'm gonna work on world peace.
I don't know where that what I don't. Anybody have any idea of what 1986 would have meant, or 1985?
It may have been the summit between Gorbachev and Reagan. I believe it was in '86.
Okay.
I think it was Michael Jackson's world tour.
Could possibly. She was a SeaWorld trainer, which Blackfish tells us that probably wasn't a good move.
That's another book they're hiding.
And she's all the other like art, all in the arts and.
She was also a prisoner interrogator for a Black Ops outfit.
No way.
Yeah,
I'm gonna write that. Okay, right now. Barbie is an interrogator. She
She's a
put
rap
curlers
star?
in your hair and didn't take them out.
She
Ooh!
was a street rapper.
No.
Yeah, street rapper in 1992.
Oh my God.
Oh, Barbie,
God.
you tell us all the different places.
So I heard an
go.
interesting thing about street rappers, right? So apparently there was a night that the lights went out in New York City, and that was the day that kind of started the whole hip-hop scene. Because there were some people in Brooklyn or the Bronx, I can't remember.
The Bronx.
Was it the Bronx? The Bronx that were
birthplace
doing some of this stuff, right? But they didn't really have equipment because they were all kind of from the hood and poor and all this kind of stuff. And then one night there was a complete power outage in New York City, and then all
Bronx
these people went and looted the local audio shops and stole a bunch of turntables and audio equipment, and so then everybody became a DJ and became a hip hop artist, and then the hip hop scene was kind of born in New York. That power outage.
That sounds like a Freakonomics podcast start.
That sounds like an apocryphal story. I'm not going to totally dismiss it outright, but yeah.
I would tell you again, don't believe anything that you hear here until you prove it to be the case with your own
Believe
research.
everything you hear.
Or believe everything here.
And unlike Taylor Swift, you can find this podcast on Spotify. The end.
Excellent. All right, next story. Apparently someone important died?
Yes.
that?
Four-term mayor and was currently a member of the city council, Marion Barry, passed away, I believe, early this morning, late last night. For those of you who don't know, Marion Barry was the mayor of D.C. 4 terms, including coming back from a stint in prison for cocaine possession, and was reelected by the city triumphantly. Marion Barry, colorful character, usually, unfortunately, like tainted by the excesses of his later years, but was a driving force for trying to like represent the underrepresented. So, at the very least, it's an interesting person who's no longer with us. So,
My second favorite mayor behind Rob Ford.
I knew you were going to do that.
Yikes. I kind of think, though, when did he have the cocaine possession, like the cameras of him in that seedy hotel room? Was it like
98-ish?
No, it was like 92, I think. But it kind of like, it was really during the heyday of the cocaine days, I believe.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was
the
the
on
late
drugs.
end, the height of the crack epidemic.
So,
For
if
sure.
anything, it brought that subject to, I believe, mainstream America, where,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my take on it.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Speaking of head politicians, there is a presidential decree, and someone's put that on the docket. I don't know what this is about. Go.
Ted Cruz is awesome.
The president decreed that?
No, he did it by executive fiat because we have
Executive fiat, like a currency?
Yeah, because we don't have
No, that's a
something
car.
been around for 237 years. This little document that looks like leaf teas. Let's not look at this document because we're just going to do our own thing because nobody can get along with each other in Congress.
Infowars.com.
No, but this kind of brings up the subject of executive orders. This has been going on constantly. Executive orders have been going on for the last 10 to 15 presidents.
Yeah. It's the way that the president can actually get something done.
So for people
With
that are
no
in
real reprisal.
So people in another country, you got the president, which represents the executive branch. You have our Congress, which represents the legislative branch. In our country, the legislative branch is designed to write the bill. The president signs the bill, and that bill goes to the bill becomes law.
You're not doing this in song.
Yeah.
However, our legislative branch has I think cockroaches. I think the guy, the dictator of North Korea is more popular than our Congress right now. So nothing can get done with Congress. So President Obama this week decided and he got counsel from 10 different lawyers from both sides of the aisle, from the conservative side to the very liberal side, signing off that this was in fact constitutional. we're going to basically provide amnesty for 5 million people, but we don't really know what that number is. It might be 12 million, but they have to pay taxes. Well, how are these people going to be paying taxes when they're all under the counter anyway, for the most part? How are these
Under
people
the counter?
You pay people under the counter. Here, you're a construction worker, or I need you to blow some leaves. Here, I'm going to give you $60 for the day. Cash. No, the IRS doesn't know about that. So this guy's now, these people are all now going to get, I believe, Social Security numbers. Is that part of the legislation? No, it's not even legislation. It's part of the executive order. The way that I understand it, they're going to get Social Security numbers. You basically, if you're in this country and you're here illegally, no problem. We're going to move on from that, and we're just going to keep that in the past and say, yeah, but you have to pay taxes now since you're here. Those are the only two things I know about it, the executive order. You have to pay taxes, and then you have a Social Security number to track you. I don't know. What else happened with that, Jeff?
I only know that he was planning to issue an executive order for some sort of amnesty for illegal or for people that came in without proper paperwork.
But this is the conservative view. The conservative view is, in the past, Reagan did it in 1986, but they had a bipartisan Congress approve of the bill for the amnesty bill.
I, in my opinion, if they want to do this stuff, and I'm okay with having large influxes of humans into the United States. I just want there to be a checkpoint at the gate when they come in to write their name down, say who they are, what their intention is, and give them a time period to become a contributing member of society, and then you're good, really. There should not be this whole border pushback on people coming in. If you want to come in, you want to be a member of our society, we should have fairly open borders to that.
The problem is we don't have fairly open borders. We have
the problem is the rule is not written that way.
The process you described and desired exists. It's just completely kind of fakakta because of how few the numbers are, how disbalanced they are to what we actually need. I mean, that's why you have all these people who come to the U.S., get degrees, and then leave because I can't stay. I can't get the work visa to stay here. So we're educating. Our universities are still desirable, but our work environment is not. So they go back home.
Right. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
But why are we going to do another amnesty edict and not do any kind of meaningful work to what the actual problem is, which is the policy of when and how people come into this country is fakakta.
Otherwise, well, here's where like this is a half step, but at least it's a step because otherwise you'll be like, well, we need to like seriously talk about the issue. It's like, no, you just want to spin wheels and not do anything because you know that not doing anything, you can still use this as a way to fire up your base, the fear of something happening. So rather than watching people stand around with their, staring at their dicks in their hands, I'm actually happy that at least something was done. Is it comprehensive? Of course not. Is it going to fix everything? Hell no. This only applies to, as Frank said, 5 million, as Frank is pointing strongly, only applies to about 5 million people, they estimate. What about the other 6 million or so?
What did the edict actually say, Tom?
I believe it only applies to, obviously, if you are the non-documented parent of a child who was born in the U.S., you do not risk being deported. It does apply if you have children who were born outside the U.S., even regardless if they have citizenship or not. I believe it doesn't apply to them. So it's a really kind of it's very specific to whom it applies to. Like the so-called dreamers, the children who are non-documented young people, but are going to college or joining the military, their parents are not covered by this, even though they themselves are do not risk deportation. Their parents do. It's only those people who have children who
had anchor babies,
who are naturalized, or born citizens. Yes.
So if you have an anchor baby, you're good to go.
Anchor baby. Yes, if you have a child who is a citizen, yes. A born citizen, yes.
Naturalized, isn't that what they call it?
A non-dreamer child.
Right. I don't know. I just think that we need to look at the problems honestly and not through this political lens that we typically do as a society. We don't do that in the right way, in my opinion.
So maybe we need to take it out of
time in this whole posturing thing because you got a bunch of people that are gonna take our jobs, but no, they don't take your jobs. They do the things that you may or may not want to do, and they'll work harder at it, and they'll create footsteps behind you that allow you to work harder. But it makes our whole country stronger to have people who are excited to be here.
So
I would much rather a society that has people that want to be here and move here from other places and are excited to come here. Let them come on because they want to be here. Not have all these people who are pissed off about being here.
I think it's very interesting that I just learned this today, actually, by doing some research, that Obama's executive order is similar to the one from George H.W. Bush in 1990. So Congress couldn't basically enact the law, so Bush did it on his own in 1990. And he did about 1.5 undocumented people, 1.5 million undocumented people. So I guess the conservative argument that he's taking executive privilege on his own and doing these actions kind of goes out in the wash on that point. So, but at any rate, I guess the consensus with the panel is the system is still broke regardless of you just keep letting people into a house. Problem is, the house isn't changing size and the volume of the people coming into the house is. So you're really going to have some reform, and it's going to have to be bipartisan, and it's going to have to be practical.
Why does it have to be bipartisan? Can't it be nonpartisan? Can't we have...
Yeah. Can't it just be human?
It's almost like I want to remove it from their auspices so that it's... Yeah.
But that goes to my frustration with the whole partisan philosophy of our nation.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the frustration I've got with the whole partisan concept, is that then it always becomes an us versus them and a war of only two sides, and you can't really find a middle ground in that a lot of times. All right, so there you go. And speaking of, no, I don't think that's a good segue. Now let's talk about something that's more miserable than what we've already been talking about. There was a tragedy that happened at Florida State University.
Yes.
Apparently, what was it on Wednesday? Well, apparently, a gunman went into the, what is it? I want to say Strother Library on the campus of Florida State University, Tallahassee, Florida, which is the capital of Florida. I didn't realize this library was open 24 hours a day. Right around midnight, the gunman went inside the library and started shooting at people. And apparently 3 people, I keep saying apparently, 3 people were injured. I don't know the status of them. I know one was critically injured. I think the other 2 were released from the hospital. But some of the pictures were terrifying to look at. Kids basically huddled, putting furniture up against the doorknob to try to prevent the guy from coming into different rooms. Pictures, which I find, it's not fascinating, but it's just how, in this day and time, people were on Instagram and on Reddit, and they're showing all these pictures of the SWAT teams coming in, fully loaded, trying to hunt this guy down. Apparently, the guy was he had a law degree from the from Florida State University, and just lost it. Just apparently has a lot of mental issues, and yeah, it's very, very tragic. But in this day and age, it's unfortunately becoming more and more of a common occurrence.
I think we just hear about it more.
We've had this conversation before, and I don't think it's that we hear about it more. It feels like it's just, it is. I think if we were to look at it, let's find a. Tell you what, let's settle this debate for once and for all. Let's find a graph of public shootings, of random public shootings, since the start of the last century. I'd be curious.
Yeah,
So
I'd be
let's
curious.
rather than let's guess. Let's not even. Let's go from 1950 on. Let's go post-war.
And we need to adjust that for how many humans are out there, right? So if the physical number goes up, that doesn't mean that the rate per capita has gone up either.
Right.
So you adjust for the number of humans that are out there, and we'll see.
Nate Silver, bring us back some graphics.
Got it.
535. Show us. We'll resolve this once for all. So this segues into, and this is, man, we're going to lose all our viewers when I say this, but so this goes into things that piss Thom off that shouldn't piss him off.
Yes.
So obviously when an event like this happens, there's a lot of coming together in unity. And, I saw, because we all went to the University of Florida here. Some of us are on the, Florida Marching Band page or the University of Florida page. And so there was a lot of messages of unity between the two rivals. And I was like, oh, that's great. Up until the point of, the hashtag Florida Strong. Mm-hmm. Which I'm sorry, just was like... I shouldn't piss me off, but it did, because I'm like, really? You're taking the Boston Strong thing and just slapping Florida Strong on it? Can't we? I don't know. It just, what should have been a moment of unity and beauty and brotherhood, suddenly it just felt like laziness to me. And I was really, it shouldn't have upset me, but I looked at it and went, what? Come on. The English language is a beautiful thing. Find another word.
Yes, we have lots of words that mean the same thing as other things. So.
Hashtag One Florida.
Yep.
Hashtag Florida Together.
Today we are all Seminoles.
Yeah, exactly. Not Florida Strong, which is just... Sorry, it shouldn't have pissed me off, but it did.
Yep. All right, next topic.
Yeah, I can see how. I see that. What is the next topic? Give me the next topic.
I think we have an ass hat.
Yes, I have an ass hat. May have seen that the Oakland Raiders won their first game of the year.
I was amazed at that, by the way.
Yeah.
Amazed.
And but it almost ended really ugly when up in the score, Oakland sacked the quarterback on third down, and Seomore, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, the defensive player, proceeded to celebrate, the sack, as players are wont to do, and that's fine. Players, yeah. He decides to run 15 yards kind of down the field and start his celebration kind of jumping and dancing. Meanwhile, were they playing Arizona?
The Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs.
They're playing the Chiefs, thank you. The Chiefs start to line up to snap the ball because the game's not over yet, man, and they're about to get a free play because your dumbass is 15 yards down the field off two players, actually, because another guy went to go join him to celebrate. So the Raiders actually had to spend a timeout to avoid the penalty. So Seomore celebrating a sack by a 1-8 team. You're my asshat. I mean, I know that expression, act like you've been there before. I guess you hadn't been there before because you hadn't won yet. Yeah.
Nope.
So
they clearly had not been there before.
Yeah. So hopefully,
Holy
least
shit.
what forgives him is the fact that he admits he was being kind of dumb. So I'll take that. Yes, Frank.
Today is Snooki's birthday.
Wow.
Not only that, it's Miley Cyrus's birthday.
Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus.
Have you ever seen the two of them in the same room at the same time? No.
No. I think that they're the same person.
Whoa.
I came in like a wrecking ball. I never knew how far I'd fall.
Okay.
Stop broadcast button is so close.
And as we said before, you can find our podcast on Spotify. We're also on... Are we on LinkedIn? No, I'm on LinkedIn. Where else can you find this podcast, Jeff?
You can find it on the internet. So if you go to the internet and search for this podcast, literally type in "this podcast," will be your first result. Please. I promise you it works. Try it. And then we'll watch on the internet how this podcast moves up and up in the search rankings.
Hashtag Wheeler Strong.
Wheeler Strong. I guess that's a thing. And next week, you can come and join us again where we are going to think about the issues that happened over this past week. We'll speak to you about who it was that won at the American Kennel Club and their American Dog Show here on Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. But you don't have to think about those things the way that I think about those things.
And you don't have to think about those things the way I think about those things.
You don't have to think about those things the way that I think about them.
Frank, scratch your head.
I don't think.
Okay, got it. But we're going to ask that you over the next week do think, and we can talk about it here next week on the Sunday Scrapple, on the Sunday podcast, on the...
Oh, we're changing it to Sunday Scrapple now. That's
Sunday
it's done. We change it every year. We're going to change our name every year. And
That's good. That's why you always just look up this podcast
right
on
right.
Google's.
And happy birthday, Harpo Marx.